Hey, here we are. Welcome once again to Cedar Springs Brewing Company for another one of our Shutdown happy hours here on Thursday Night Live. We are finally rolling out of quarantine shutdown a little bit, so we've done, I think, 5 or 6 of these shows to try to keep in touch with all of you, and this is probably going to be the last one, but oh my goodness, what a spectacular evening we have on tap here, as we have more talent than we can fit in this entire room. We're delighted with the folks that we have to talk a little bit about restaurant and food and everything else. Chef Jenna, oh my goodness.
Hello, how are you?
No, nobody puts baby in a corner.
No, well, you certainly did, but that's fine. I'll get over.
You have the greatest chef coat in the business, and
I have a custom coat. Yes,
as one should.
I think
as one should. So thank you so much for being with us, Jenna. For those of you who don't know, and I can't imagine that any of you don't, but she is the proprietor and the chef at Amore Trattoria Italiano over on Alpine here in West Michigan, and you're kind of like the queen of EGR, I think, as well.
Well, I do love to eat out and post what I eat. My husband hates that I have to take photos of all his food. But
well, he's hungry. He wants to eat.
I know.
And then also, Eric Albertson from Speakeasy Lounge, and also a foodie extraordinaire and one of my mentors, I think, in this game just a little bit. We've known each other a long time. You're also involved with Graydon's Crossing.
Yep.
Beer bar, food, European. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these European and world influences. I think that all of us are participating in. But thank you so much for being here. And I can't believe that we're actually together and having a beer. We've never done this before.
Just when we thought, well, we left our 20s in the 90s, and here we are all over again. So.
And then we also have the amazing musical talent of Jack Lever. Thank you so much
Good evening. How are you?
for being here. Yeah. He's part of Lever Brothers, American Heartbreakers, for any of you that are Tom Petty fans out there, and you can check him out at jacklever.com, and you're all over Facebook and social media and all that kind of stuff as well. So what are we drinking this morning, Jack? What do you have?
I have the CS IPA, which is one of my favorites.
Awesome. Come to a German place and drink the American English beer.
What can I say?
Awesome. No, works good for you.
Thank you.
We're equal opportunity imbibers around here, so a little bit of everything.
I love the IPAs, so you know that.
I know.
I like them all, though.
Hopheads, yeah. Well, as one should.
Yes.
As one should. And Chef, over here.
What did you pour me? I don't even know.
I'm just drinking it. Have the modern. You said Weiss beer, so that's what we have.
2 minutes in and we're already off script.
I'm just...
There's no script. This is free and open. We can talk about whatever we want. But
I love we're all drinking something different, though.
Yeah. Well, nice flavorful beer. Little bits of kind of a banana coriander flavor. Although there's really no bananas that were harmed in the making of this beer. With being very German and what we are doing, we are only 4 ingredients in all of our beers. So a little bit of the
really
brewhouse
good.
Magic.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Awesome. And E, what do we have over there?
Over 80 degrees, had to go with a Pilsner.
Pilsner is crisp, light, easy to drink. Yeah, that's actually one of the new products that we're canning now. If any of you haven't been paying attention to our social media, we just released 3 new products in a can. So we've got our Kuster Pils, our Kuster Märzen, which is kind of an Oktoberfest or an amber lager, if you will, and then the modern, which is what you're drinking.
I might have to buy some and take it home when I leave. Just saying.
Well, we'll pack up the luggage if we have to.
Okay, we might have to.
We also this week just released, some of you that tuned in the last couple of weeks, we obviously missed Stark Beer Fest, so we had a couple of different beers that we threw into a barrel, a Buffalo Trace bourbon barrel. So I actually have the Maibach, which is a strong lager, a Bock. And this spent a couple months in a Buffalo Trace barrel, so lovely.
I need to try that.
Excellent.
So, Prost.
Salute.
Yes.
Cheers. So once again, our phone kicking off, but as we're kind of sitting here, all of us, I don't want to add up the years of experience here in this industry between this motley crew that we have, but we've all been going through the same thing for the past almost three months now. And we're all experienced as independents some of the same struggle. It's really weird. We don't have the chains or anything behind us to get us by. So, how in the world have you survived the last 8 weeks, 10 weeks?
It's anything else in life. You just figure it out as fast as you can, and we got down to 0. Low labor. We had to lay off staff. That was a punch in the gut. It was. you're laying off people that have been at war with you for 8 years, and that was hard. But we just went to a takeout model, and we'd never done any of the delivery platforms, so we had to figure out Uber in a hurry. And then obviously, I think as owners, we all know the every in and out of PPP and the SBA 7A and all the rest of it. So you just like anything else, you had to figure it out, and we were fortunate enough to survive. We did enough and to go sales, and you had to reinvent your model for revenue streams. So we started selling everything. We started selling toilet paper when toilet paper ran out. I'm like, hey, chef, don't we have like 3 cases of toilet paper? He's like, I'm like, buck a roll.
Yeah.
Right.
That was more for comic effect, but we went from Speakeasy Lounge to Jimmy John's to 7-Eleven in about 36 hours.
Right.
You got to keep the
Well,
lights
that was
on.
a scramble when this thing first came down.
You ain't lying. I mean, it was no joke. We had already started taking bar stools out and moving tables 6 feet apart because Maurizio was watching in Italy what was going down, and we're like, we got to get on top of it before we're shut down. And then the day after we did that, they were like, you need to shut down.
Right.
And overnight we changed to go. We're
Mauricio
lucky.
was in Italy. I was actually in Germany when this started.
Oh, really?
Watching what was going on in Italy. We had our chef over there. We were on a culinary tour as well, and same thing, communicating back here. What can we do to start taking out tables and putting in?
All the bar stools were gone.
Right.
Yeah, I quip that we rewrote our business model completely 7 times in 10 days, but that's not a quip. That's what happened.
That's reality.
You Sunday. How hard did we work on Sunday before
hard.
Black Monday
Right.
when they shut us down? So we had this 4-hour meeting, and we were already at 50% staff, and how do we do this, and what do we do next? And then we wake up the next day, close at 3 o'clock. It's like, okay.
Right.
The next thing.
We had a meeting with all of our staff, called them in, what do we want to do? Do we want to go stay closed? Do we want to open and do takeout?
Yeah.
And we had enough, about a third of our staff wanted to do it, and it was all volunteer basis and like you said, we added in suddenly this Jimmy John's model of delivery. And we added groceries. I mean, the same thing as you guys did. I mean, and you had a whole cool tent thing set up in back of your place.
Yeah, we set up a tent. We're lucky because we have a huge parking lot that people can just drive up and around through. So we had to get cones and signs, and that didn't even work.
People always read signs,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, but then we decided, okay, let's open 7 days, and we can keep all of our staff on and just rotate them through. So we didn't have to lay anyone off. And we decided we're just going to do dinner 4 to 7. I mean, all these things were decided like this.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to hustle, and you have to make
we
it
found
work.
the weeks even changed. I mean, our Sundays are always one of our best days, and during this it was dead. Friday suddenly became the big day here anyway. I mean, it may have been different for you guys.
Brunch was still a big thing for us, and because I had to think, well, what's everyone else not going to be doing? So I said, let's keep focusing on our brunch. So our Saturday Sunday brunch was a big shot in the arm.
You guys have always done a great job with that anyway.
But the reality is, I visited both of your places during takeout time, and you saw a lot of regular guests coming in and over tipping, and hats off to them because they're taking care of our staff. So the guests were with us, and that was
that's exactly what
big
happened.
boost in the
Was
arm.
your base came in and supported you, knowing and seeing. And I was very honest. I was like, this is not easy, and we're not making a lot of money doing this. In fact,
a lot of money.
We're not making much, but we're staying open, and our staff is working, and we feel good about it. But other than that, we couldn't have done it without
survive in advance. Just keep the doors open.
Priorities of keeping everybody safe and keeping your people paid.
And Maurizio is like high-level germaphobe, so we started logging temperatures, asking the questions already. Masks for everyone back in front of the house, hand washing stations, new hand washing stations, sanitizer station,
So how has this evolved now that we're in this 50% reopen model? We're slowly, and unfortunately a lot of guests sometimes hear that you're open. It's not really open. It's
not. I'm not open at all. I'm still doing takeout. I was like, I'm going to let everyone else open first and see how that goes. Because to me, 50%, I'm no mathematician, but 50% open means 50% loss. So why would I do it?
Right.
Nope.
It's actually much worse than that.
Exactly.
It isn't 50%. It's more like 25% because though you have 4 top tables, invariably they're all 2 tops. So that isn't 50%. It's 25%. And without allowing to have large parties. So goodbye, if you're more of a bar than a restaurant, goodbye softball teams. Or if you're a restaurant, goodbye anniversaries or rehearsal dinners. You can't have those large parties that oftentimes take place on the weekend. And so you can, in pre-COVID, you could have a slow Monday or Tuesday. You didn't really care because Friday and Saturday and
We're
Sunday,
gonna make up for it.
that's the big brother and big sister. That's going to make up for the.
Right.
But now Mondays and Tuesdays have to punch above their weight because Sunday is maxed, and especially with people reticent to head out in anything more than a 2, possibly a 4 top, and they're just there's empty chairs in there. So it's 25 or 30% capacity.
And you have to bring in more staff to
Yeah.
make it happen. So it's not worth it to me.
Right.
Yeah, I was
it's-
like, mm-mm.
You got to keep. I mean,
So you've stayed out just take out and you're open though?
I opened as
partially?
fast as I could. Get it. Well, I had to get rid of the COVID-19 that I put on.
What, going to work is
I'm
going to do
just,
that?
I'm just waddling around that dining room right now. My first table visit, I think I tripped over the chair getting there.
So I think we've kind of been in the middle. We're really maintaining the takeout delivery, but we've also added on that if you want to eat your takeout meal here, you can seat yourself and do that, and you can drink a beverage. Speaking of beverages, you can drink a beverage while you're at it. We're allowing people to have a beer or whatever they choose while they're here. But it's still very much,
But
we
you
want to
have wear
maintain
your
the
mask
social.
on the way in.
Yep.
And your
yep.
staff
Our
has
staff's
to wear
on
the
masks. And this also maintains the social distancing for our staff because they're really staying behind the bar
Yeah.
and they're not coming to the tables. We don't want to expose them
No.
to more interaction than they have to. So
Well, that was my thing. I want to protect the customers and the staff still. I don't want them to have to feel uncomfortable coming in and wearing a mask and getting their temperature checked and all the things. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't feel like a dining experience at that point. It feels like a doctor's appointment.
right.
And I'd rather
Yeah,
wait.
Good analogy. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of our establishments were built as an experience. It's not
Yeah.
it's not built as a takeout. Just order the grub sandwich and out the door you go. It's built to
It's
have
about the
complete
experience. It's about talking,
Right.
tables,
Right.
to your tables, to your guests. We love our people. I mean, they're our people. So
And then we have a separate challenge with suppliers trying to get delivery. I mean, we went from 4 to 5 deliveries a week to 1.
Yep.
How's this influenced your menu choices then and what you've been able to do during the takeout time?
So a lot of it is the great protein watch of 2020 because the supply chain has been completely disrupted, and it's sad. Andrew Zimmern, who I really like, Bizarre Foods, has been doing some great work on CNN about the supply chain and eating out. And the reality is that you've got crops rotting in the fields, you've got thousands of gallons of milk being dumped out, and yet we can't order it unless it's at great expense. So you watch pork, you watch beef, and so you cut that out of your menu. You cut a lot of your long braises out, your long stews. So you dumb down your meat, you dumb down your long prep time. And so you have this more organized menu, but you can't do anything about the pricing. Well, the problem with the pricing is it's 2 drunks in a canoe. You lean over this way, oh my goodness, the water's coming in the water, being high prices for pork and beef. Well, I'm going to quick slosh back this way. I'm buying chicken and tofu. So you slosh back this way, and all of a sudden the chicken and tofu comes in, and all of a sudden the canoe's full, and you're not understanding why the water keeps coming in. and
true,
so
though.
that's
You're
just
sometimes used to wet pants anyway.
that's
right?
well, I got rid of that by the time I was 17. Don't worry about it. I had a lot of therapy. That's the hard part is try to monitor protein
Well, and people
prices
don't know
because
that. People
it
don't know that
fluctuates.
we're struggling
Yeah.
getting product. I mean, we're struggling at every single angle of our business right now.
Right.
And I mean, it's taking everything from all of us to
Oh, no,
just
just,
stay positive.
Chef, there's still plenty of stress in our business. We always have that. We have our stress to keep us warm.
But I think one of the positives, you really mentioned this, I've truly been touched by the guest reaction. Yes, they don't understand what's all going on in this business, which is why this, I think, is a cool conversation to have.
Yeah.
But I do think that everybody has been empathetic, and your regular customers have, immediately were there, and those are the ones that have been calling regularly and ordering takeout regularly, and for us a little bit of delivery, and we're slowly coming back here as soon as we're able to pour a glass of beer again, and it's been really great to see that and the interaction with your staff that they've made relationships with.
Right, and there's nothing more than we want as a business owner than to have real contact, not through a window or a mask with our
Right.
guests.
Right.
That's why we're here. That's why we're in the business we're in.
Yeah.
It's not for profit. We already know that.
I did take a paycheck through the entire thing. I took one,
Uh-huh.
Hey, we're going to take a quick little time out here, and we'll get back to the conversation. But one of the great things that we do here on a regular basis, now it's summertime, so guys, we have live music on Tuesdays outside, Wednesdays outside, Thursdays outside, and Sundays for brunch. Now that we have brunch going again. And one of the amazing talents that is kind enough to visit us on a semi-regular basis, and you were here earlier in the week on Tuesday, Jack
Yes.
Lever, which was awesome to hear you
Thank
again.
you.
So,
It was awesome to be here.
so
Awesome.
thank you very much for joining us tonight again. So we're putting some miles on.
Yeah.
But we'll take a little break here and give you a listen.
All right. Well, thank you. Besides playing solo, I'm in a band called the Big Sirs. We're recording a record right now with a distinctive
So you're kind of a big deal.
60s vibe to it. So this is one of the tracks off that I wrote. You can tell her for me I'm alright. And if she can't see, open her eyes for me, please. That's just the way I feel, with a heart that may never heal. Don't tell her I'm lonely. Don't tell her I need her badly. Don't tell her I'm leaving, tell her I'm gone. But she can't blame me, I won't fight. If that's the way it must be, I could be down on my knees. That's just the way I feel. I'll always love her still. Don't tell her I'm lonely. Don't tell her I need her badly. Don't tell her I'm leaving, tell her I'm gone. Might not be today, but some tomorrow. She's gonna learn about pain, about sorrow. That's just the way I feel, and I'll always love her still. Don't tell her I'm lonely. Don't tell her I love her madly. Don't tell her I'm leaving, tell her I'm gone, gone.
Outstanding.
Thank you. Thank you, Bo Brummels, for writing that great song that I ripped off.
That was awesome. You know, I know we've talked a little bit. We get a chance to chat sometimes on your break while you're here, but you used to live in this area.
I did, actually. I have a place in Newaygo still, but I live in Grand Haven now, pretty much.
But you had a CD or record store right across
Yeah,
the
I
street,
did, right across the street from you. And I'm dying to go in there because I have not been in there in years.
Well, I've been in that building. It doesn't look good. Yeah, it's for sale right now, though. Hey, you could.
Hey, I could buy it just to like
right.
revisit. I'm a nostalgic kind of guy, so.
Yeah, let's just say, well,
I don't think I wanna
the
go back
price
there.
has increased about 100-fold over the last 5 years. It's really weird how the asking price goes up.
Oh, I
don't
know,
understand.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
But no, a lot of my family is from these parts, Kansas City, Cedar Springs,
Yeah.
like
And I know you play other places up in this
Oh, yeah.
area too. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we get to enjoy you here. Once a month, every month or two. We get
I like the breweries the best, though.
well, there's
Yeah,
IPA.
there's some perks.
Well, cool. Well,
And
thanks.
yours is a favorite, actually, in food.
Oh, come on! You say that to all the
Oh,
breweries.
no, I don't know, just you.
Well, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So I kind of want to get back into the conversation a little bit with you guys and maybe change gears just a touch. But if there's one thing that we all do have a little bit in common in terms of our menus and our culinary is that we're all really world and European influenced. You and I have traveled quite a bit together and separately, and obviously you you get around too. So,
I do.
You
In
met
more
your
ways
husband
than one.
in Italy, right?
Huh?
Did you meet in Italy? Were you an
No, I
exchange
met
student?
him in San Francisco.
Well,
He
what
was
are
on
the odds?
vacation.
Yeah.
I know, crazy. And I was living there at the time, but I grew up in Grand Rapids, so
Okay.
it was wild to just kind of run into him, and sparks flew, and 20 years later, here we are. But yeah, he was just on vacation in San Francisco while I was living there, and he walked by the restaurant I was working at, and that was it.
Well, now I heard the story though that it was, and fill me in though, but your mother-in-law, you kind of got to cooking with her, and that.
Well,
really,
yeah. So Maurizio took me on a beautiful whirlwind tour after we started dating of Italy, and the last day I got to meet his mom and his family. He wanted to make sure I was cool, I guess.
Yeah, passed the test. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then she.
Did you have the pink hair then?
I didn't.
Okay.
She's been a huge influence on me. We didn't speak the same language, so the kitchen was our place to just kind of point and get everything done. So I would watch her cook and learn from her, and then apparently I learned how to speak Italian, and then it was on. So our love language, hers and mine, is to cook and feed people. So she had 11 kids. She had to do it all the time, and still does. She's 92, almost 93.
And that is truly amazing. I know I was on a different program earlier this week, and we had that conversation about how, food and beverage really is a love language that brings people together and creates relationships and conversations, even sometimes when it's pointing and
you don't have to speak the same language to love to eat. I mean, we eat 3 times a day, no matter where we live.
Well, speak for yourself. I may get over that mark every now and then.
Okay, but you know what I mean. Like we're all, that's our human nature, is to love food. Most of us, anyway.
Well, I think for all of us too, that's a part of the satisfaction of this business when you create a dish or a beverage, and then you see people that experience this maybe for the first time or experience that flavor that they remember again, and it takes them back, and you can see it in their faces.
Yeah, that's
and
the best compliment ever.
There's a heartwarming feeling for that when you see that experience taking place.
It's the best.
And your food is loved as well, and you're more continental and almost really world influenced, but maybe a touch of British in what you're doing.
No, for me, it was always about peasant food. The poor around the world have always cooked better than anyone else. They've had, they always had the lesser of the choices of fine food. So if you take if you take tough meat or innards, tripa, I love it, tripe, or you just take those meats and you do long braises and stewing, and then sauces. And the other thing is, if you go back to Kitchen Confidential, so if you're not a restaurateur and you want to learn a little bit, the best thing you can do is read Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential. His a chapter a day in our life is very good of what we go through every day. And then his other one is how cooking at home. And at the end of the day, we always just add the 2 ingredients that are most important: salt and fat. When in doubt, add salt and fat. Salt and fat, and then garlic. So for me, it was about making fresh sauces, nothing screw top ever. It was about long braises, long stews, taking that cheap, poor meat and creating interesting flavors from it, along with fresh herbs, which now thankfully everyone can get access to.
Right.
So we too tended to jump around the world, but again, it's always with an eye towards what were they eating in the streets.
Well, not only that, it sounds like stuff Grandma would make.
Right.
The long braised food, the stuff that is like in your heart as a memory.
Well, and that point, I think, is a little of what I fell in love with that Bavarian. Our menu really comes directly from Oberbayern, which is a little region of Bavaria, which is the largest state of Germany. And one of the things that used to, when I was living there, you'd walk into almost any restaurant, and it was really the same menu every place that you went in. It was that comfort food menu that had just evolved over time with what was local. And, they would change a little bit. The dishes would change from day to day based on what they could get. But everybody would have their own little flair on it, like Grandma's cooking, that just had a little different twist and made it just slightly different. I mean, our Bavarian side of the menu, you could walk into a traditional place in Oberbayern and it would be the same menu. It's just, but they would have their own little twist and flair on that. And I think that goes even to your thing of the peasant food. I mean, that dish may change regularly based on what you can get.
Sure, absolutely true. And so those unwanted meats, those are the most beautiful. And that's a lot of the Ender Zimmern in me too, where I challenge me for heads and offal and intestines. I'm all about.
We've been on a couple road trips where we've done some of those things.
Yes,
And,
we have.
So, for me, I know I was always fired up to share some of those things that I experienced here, and that's kind of what we've tried to build here is to have people have some of those flavors that they can enjoy here and experience that they maybe haven't before. But how has travel influenced obviously it's huge, but how has it influenced?
Well, for me, because I get to take people to Italy 2 times a year to different places every time, when I go to a new place, I learn what their comfort food is. And maybe I've never had it before. When I went to Puglia last year,
Right.
I fell in love with this dish that was just bread balls. It's basically stuffing that's fried, and then they toss it in tomato sauce. And as a vegetarian, it was something totally new to me. And it was so delicious. I ordered it everywhere I went because I was like, first of all, I've never had it before. Second of all, food cost amazing.
Yeah.
Third of all, everyone made them totally different.
Right.
And so I would go back in my mind and I'd be like, this place I like the best.
Well,
but
that's a great point, because when I'd find a dish, I would try it in different places
Yeah.
too to see what their twist at what.
Yeah,
was.
and every time I go, I learn a new recipe that I think I know everything, and then someone hits me with one, and I'm like,
So that's really
wow.
neat. So you do a tour twice a year that
Yep.
guests can actually come along.
Yeah, we take 14
so-
people with a onward travel.
Okay.
It's actually Molly Christ, who used to have the Silver Spork food truck in town.
Okay.
Then she moved to New York, got married, and she has a travel agency. Not just Italy, she goes everywhere, but with me, she paired up to do Italy twice a year.
So we've done a very similar thing, Bayern Trips, which are these posters on the wall. So we do a Via Cultura tour every year. We have 30 people going this spring. It was scheduled this year. We got delayed, obviously,
Yeah.
but
We only
same
take
kind of
14,
thing
so it's super small.
So I hear a collaboration coming up
Yeah,
here
I
one of
think
these
we
days.
should.
Yeah.
I would love to go and see what you do.
Well, and
then
vice
you need to
versa,
come,
yeah.
Yeah, see what we
Yeah,
do.
vice versa. That
Yeah,
makes
it's so
interesting. All right.
so fun.
We'll have to- we'll have to
a
work
lot
on
of
that.
drinking and a lot of eating.
We should probably open a bottle of wine and talk about it.
I think we
Jenna.
should. I like that idea.
And Easy, you've traveled extensively everywhere, not just Europe, but you're a little more broad in what you do in your menu. You can bring bits from everywhere. And how's travel really influenced what your menu choices?
Well, for me, travel is everything. It's about being educated about the world and learning people's cultures. And going back to Zimmern and my boy Anthony Bourdain, that's the universe. There's 2 universal languages. There's food and soccer. Come on, you Irons, West Ham United. I happen to speak both. I happen to speak both those languages, and so by speaking food or local beverage or the world sport, it's easy for me to make friends, and then we can connect, and it leaves the politics out, and you generally get to meet people, the people that I've met through you in Germany, or my friends in England now.
And they're friends for life, yeah.
Yeah, friends for life, and for me, that's the flair of life, is to travel and meet other people and their cultures and eat their food.
So then, and if this maybe is a little more directed towards you, because you and I have this a little bit in common, is how have you created any balance between your ethnic food and American palates?
Well, here's the thing. It was hard in the beginning. Everyone was so pissed that I didn't have spaghetti and meatballs on the menu or garlic bread. And I was like, ooh, this is something that they would never eat in Italy, ever. If you're going to eat a meatball, it's hard to describe to people who have never been there, but they have primo, secondo, they have rules. So usually their pasta is either a tomato sauce or something without meat. So their second course is a protein and a veggie.
Right.
So if they were going to have pasta, it's going to be separate from meatballs. Meatballs will be second course with a veggie. Yeah. How do you explain that to someone who has lived in America all their life and never traveled to Italy?
Right.
They just get pissed.
Right.
So
well, I hear your.
I don't do it. I just don't do it.
I carry your burden, because we have the same thing with our pretzel. We have this authentic Bavarian pretzel.
It's so good.
And I apologize, but we're just not going to serve Velveeta with it. We're not going to do it.
Well, yeah.
And it's very difficult because guests are upset. They're used to the mall pretzel and all that. And that can be wonderful experience
food,
too,
yeah.
But that's not what this is.
Well, and it takes a kind way of explaining, and sometimes people are still offended.
Right.
But they got used to it.
Right.
They never heard of arancini before, and they love them now. So it's just like, patience and teaching, and I mean, I'm actually doing something funny in the next couple of weeks. It's a cupcake with spaghetti and meatballs, because I'm going to say that's the only way you're ever going to get it from me. But ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I think we all have that in common, but we do use it. We have
people are pissed that I don't have it, and it's just one of those things. Like, there's certain things they don't have in Italy, and we want to be authentic to that as much as we can. So we don't waver on it,
And that is, I mean, we've kind of done a two-side menu thing to satisfy some of that, but I mean, I hear you, and that is one of the hard things, in that you want somebody to actually experience this thing and not compromise it to Americanize it.
My favorite is we don't like Italian food. I'm like, how do you make such a broad statement?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, really.
Like, why don't you try something before you say we don't like it? It's just a weird mentality.
We're here to educate. Trust us. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm pretty sure
Well,
I can find something.
You haven't experienced it. I mean, we do this with beer, and people, I don't like German beer. Well, what you get over here is, comes, but it's not what it is there, because it's not fresh. It's the flavors are different. I mean, actually try some of these things fresh. The foods, pair them up. Eat a bite of this, drink a little bit. It's amazing how it goes
Pairings
together.
are so important. Pairings are a big deal. But also, just like, when you get a customer like that, you just bring them something. You say, hey, I think you might like this.
Exactly.
Even if it's a beer or a food.
Right.
That's part of what we do.
And so, Eric, how do you, I mean, as an astute business professional, so how do you, I said that with a straight face too.
If I was, I wouldn't be in this industry.
So how do you see, I mean, one of the challenges, I think we've all faced this question here as this has gone on. What's going to happen over the next 2 to 4 years? I mean, how is our business going to change?
Well, COVID is basically Chernobyl of a trend that was already starting. Yeah. The trend that had started, and I attended several really good seminars saying that Gen Z, they're already on their phones a lot. They're less comfortable eating out. They're less comfortable with large group social actions. And so I've been hearing forever, to go, delivery. And this was the Chernobyl nuclear bomb that went off. Still, my to-go sales are way up post-COVID. That trend's not going away anytime soon. The dine-in model is really going to change over the next 24 to 48 months, and we need to be smart about it, or we're not going to make it, because they were already predicting a different ballgame, and now you have legitimately, without making any disparaging comments, it's a traumatized public out there. We're traumatized from it. And it's a whole new world, and you're just gonna have to sit and watch. And when they say a third of the restaurants aren't gonna make it out of this, I think they're being a little optimistic.
I do too.
But they're also looking very short-sighted. They're thinking, in the next 90 days.
I think it's longer.
From day one, you and I've talked about this. From day one, I said the next 36 months are going to be a nightmare.
Right.
This is
I think
one day at a time.
The financial hurt is actually to come. Yeah.
36 months, and we don't know if COVID's going to come back. I think it will this fall. Again, just mirroring what happened in 18 and 1918.
Well, and I think also in general that the precedent's been set that when there is something, whether it's the next COVID or SARS or whatever, when there is something, we're the first ones to get shut down. We're going to be the last ones to open.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to be prepared for that.
It's kind of brutal to think about future now, and to wonder, like you said, the next generation is different than we are. They don't need the social interaction like we do. They're fine with just being on their phone and talking to people via FaceTime. We're not. We need, I need hugs. I miss hugs so bad right now. Also,
I think for all of us, I can say that guest interaction is a big part of what we do.
Yeah,
and I can say even for my whole staff, I mean, we all follow in that. Your staff, I mean, you guys all have amazing staffs. But for each of them, that table interaction and that is the experience.
And if you're one of those people that can't deal with change, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Because your hustle has to be real every single day when you wake up right now. It's like, what's going to happen today? What bomb's going to go off today? You don't know. And if you're good at rolling with the punches, you're going to make it. If you can't deal with change,
right,
you're not going to last. And it's an unfortunate thing. And I keep calling it Darwinism because it's exactly what it is. It's survival of the fittest right now.
On that note, though, I still don't think, I mean, I was out of this business for 15 years and came back in, which was a piss poor financial decision, but it was truly a heartfelt decision for me. There's nothing else I would rather be doing.
Me neither.
And even through this, you know, hours have actually gone up for me and probably for each of you as well.
I don't
getting
sleep,
through
so
this.
yeah.
But well, yeah, you left your hair on. Yeah.
My light is on all the time.
But it's still a wonderful business. I love the interaction with the people and creating those experiences. And here's to many more years of that. So
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers
So
to many
guys.
more years.
I do want to take a quick minute. As I said, this is probably the last of the 6 episodes we're going to be doing. And we'll do something else, so fear not. But I want to thank, first of all, the Headwind Agency and DW Video and Multimedia for working with us on this entire thing. You guys have been nothing short of spectacular. And, you know, restaurant partners, I mean, we're really all colleagues in this thing, but Eric and Jenna, I know we all talk a lot anyway behind, and every time something comes up and we have a question and things that we converse on a regular basis, I think that interaction is healthy for,
We need it.
for
We
all
need
of us.
it.
We need, but thank you guys very much for being here. I really,
Thank you,
Thanks for
Rings.
inviting
really
us.
appreciate it.
This was a lot of fun.
This is really awesome. And Jack, you're amazing as always. Thank you so much.
Look
for,
forward to having you
being
back
here
at Speakeasy. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
But with all that, guys, have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you back here at Cedar Springs Brewing Company, Speakeasy Lounge, and Amore the next time you get a chance. Prost.
Ciao.
Ciao.